Jeremiah. For as long as I can remember, I've had an almost morbid fascination with anything and everything paranormal, especially those things that venture into the darkest recesses of our primal fears and spark the thoughts that for most would be the stuff of nightmares. In 2007, this fascination, along with some unexplainable experiences, led me to start a paranormal research team known today as Everyday Legacy Paranormal. Then in 2011, a road trip led myself and a close friend into the darkest places we had ever been. That was the beginning of Road Trip Paranormal. Now, while still active with them, I no longer lead either of those teams, but the people that make them up are the best friends a guy like me could ask for. Myself, along with Jason, Leo, Rose, Max, and Michelle, reaching out to share our passions for everything odd, fringe, and paranormal with the world. We are Cryptic Heartland.
And we are live.
How's it going, everybody?
And we're back.
What's up, guys?
We always start the show laughing.
Yeah, you never know what's going on behind the scenes. And all right, well, this is the Cryptic Heartland podcast, episode number 33. We're going to talk about the Dodge Santa Fe Depot. Had a public event there last week, and we've been there numerous times, and we've had fun down there and collected a lot of evidence, and just going to go with it, basically. So, I'm Leo. I'm one of the hosts, along with this guy next to me.
If you can see me on the table, I'm Jason.
Michelle?
They can see you.
I'm just trying to sit as high as I can, you know.
And the man
sit too back, I fall.
The man behind the board is Mr. Not paying attention, Jeremiah.
I don't know what the hell you're talking about. I'm not there.
Okay.
I'm a figment of your imagination.
You're a fig Newton.
All of this shit's just kind of working itself.
All right, guys. So last week we had a public investigation in Dodge City, Kansas, at the Santa Fe Depot. It turned out to be a great event. I didn't get a chance to go down there this last time, but you guys want to kind of tell us a little bit about what happened, or just what went on?
Well, we did a live event for the depot. It was all benefits to the Depot Theater. It's a theater that was, well, not theater, it's a building that was built in 1898. It's completely renovated with the dinner theater. Mm-hmm. We've been going there since 2010, I believe.
At least, yeah.
About 2010.
Yeah.
It was a great time. We had about 30 guests with, I would say, a lot of activity that happened. Just about in every location.
Yep.
Of the place.
We were having activity in places that we didn't think we would have activity.
No.
You know,
it was
because you always have your hot spots there.
Yeah.
And it seems like the hot spots were above and beyond what they normally did, and then the places that were normally pretty calm were.
Yeah.
Everybody was having stuff.
Well, and we even got a chance to investigate the night. Well, sorry, you weren't there.
Right.
But we got a chance to investigate the night before, and you know, I mean, it was one of our guests, Jake, was with us that night. Mm-hmm. You and him had a fantastic moment down. Well,
Oh yeah.
that came out wrong. Fantastic moment.
That's what I thought too. No, please tell us.
You guys had a sighting.
Exactly how it sounded.
Two perfect guys with beards going at it.
Sorry. No, while you guys are setting up and running the cords down there, Jake had an encounter down there that startled him. I don't think he was expecting that to happen.
Yeah.
And as many times as I've been there, I've never had that happen.
Yeah.
Ever.
Well, it was kind of wild. I didn't know what was going on at first, but you know, I was messing with the camera, and he had gone on to run the cable up, and he had to walk through out of the room that we were in and through another room that had a bunch of shelving set up in kind of aisles. And the very last aisle, there were a bunch of doors leaned up, so you could. It was partly occluded. You couldn't really see past the doors in this aisle. And then beyond that was the hallway that he needed to run the cable up. And so I turn around and I see him. He's kind of looking down this aisle. I just thought he was lost, because the place is like a maze down there. I thought he was not sure where he needed to go. And so I said, "Oh, you're right. Just go ahead and keep running the cable, on down to the hallway, and then go left." And but as soon as I started talking, he turns and he looks up at me, and I swear you were just standing right in front of me at the end of that that aisle right there. And he said a figure about my size, my build, in shadows, standing down there at the end of this, just past the doors that were leaned up, just kind of staring at him.
Right.
But then by the time he turned and looked back after I was talking, the figure was gone.
Wow.
So yeah, that was a good experience for him. It was
That was off guard. That's for sure.
And that was only, hell, we were just setting up. We hadn't even gotten going.
We were just running the cable.
Yeah.
That wasn't the first time this individual popped up from what I understand, right? You guys can tell hear about the story behind it and things with the guests and whatnot. But you can tell, you can talk about it now if you want to, or you can talk about whatever you want.
Yeah. Well, okay. So the depot has it's 3 levels altogether.
4 technically with the basement.
Well, yeah, 4 with the basement.
Yeah.
Over the years, we've been told that down the basement there's at least 2 individuals.
Right.
Walter and who was the other one?
You kept saying you told me Wyatt.
Yeah.
Wyatt.
I've never heard anybody call him by name. I just I know which is which.
I just know Carl was saying it. Oh,
he's named
Walter.
I think along the way. Yeah.
Well, it's fun to give him a name.
It gives them more.
Well, one's grumpy and one's...
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. It's
There's sleepy, there's bad... Oh, what are we talking about?
grumpy, happy.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, that's about right.
Yeah.
So, with
See, I always heard the grumpy one was more malevolent. That's when they first started. The first time we went down there ever, that's how they described him to us. Right. And he gives off a kind of a sinister feel, kind of a darker presence, and then the other one is more mischievous, kind of like a younger kid, middle, a juvenile, basically running around performing pranks, basically.
I remember my first time being down there back in 2010. I remember sitting down there, and we have who were on the team at the time, Ben and Claire.
Right.
I was sitting down there with them, and we were sitting by the elevator, and it went so quiet. It was like you couldn't hear anything down there except you started hearing like this sound of like shuffling around, and you just got that feeling something was about to happen.
Right.
Someone was coming your way. You just get that feeling. But unfortunately we didn't get to see it, but Brendan and Nicole were downstairs when the figure actually made a presence right in front of Brendan, who was, and he's 6'3", 6'4", or something like that, 6'6", and he said it was enough for him to just make a quick duck when he saw the figure on the other side of the, pretty much where Jeremiah and Jake saw the figure, was on the other side of the shelving.
Right. Was this the mischievous one they call it? Was that Walter? Is that his name is?
I think, Walter.
Walter?
Walter's what Carl.
Okay.
Who works
That's
there.
the same one that Renee and I had, and the first time we ever been down there was Carl, Renee, and myself. He was kind of giving us the tour, and we were kind of doing
Was this the mischievous
time.
one they call it? Is that Walter? Is that
I think I told you the story when I talked to you last week, but about the infamous Squidward.
Yes.
They had this prop down there that they had Carl build called Squidward, and
Squid.
It looks like a squid. It's white, if I remember right, and it has like a black eyes, and it's real prominent, and it's just this big long. It's probably 5 feet, maybe in width, and it's usually tucked away anymore. I don't know why. I think Carl put it there as a joke, and it's been there ever since.
It's just under a shelf, yeah.
Because he built this, prop for them to use, and they end up not using it, basically. And he's like, man, I worked all hard on this, and
Right.
so now he puts it down. So when you see it, it's like, whoa, hey, what's that?
It startled everybody that night.
Well, Renee, myself, and Carl, we were talking about this thing, and he had told us about, this is where, right outside the elevators, with the paint cans and all that stuff, this is where I've come down here, my tools have been taken, maybe somewhere else in the basement. I'm like, how'd they get clear over here, kind of a thing. It's the wall, the one's mischievous. So we're talking about this guy, we're talking about Squidward, and I'm laughing on it, like, oh, Squidward, and then on an EVP, I didn't give it tonight because it's kind of hard to hear, but you hear something go Squidward, like real deep and guttural. That it's not Carl, it's not myself, it's definitely not Renee, and we're laughing about it, and then all of a sudden Renee goes, something pulled on my sweatshirt, like her hood, and you can hear something kind of like grumping, like growling, kind of at us on the EVP, and it's the same thing that where a lot of people have their incidences with this Walt guy that, I don't know, he likes to play tricks, and he's not afraid to show himself apparently to everybody that saw him that night.
Yeah, he didn't do anything for me.
For you.
Yeah, he didn't do. Well, and what startled me too is I went over and I found the squid, and I was aware of it being there. I wasn't aware of the dummy that was on the top of it.
Rose, what were you doing on top of it? Oh, wait a minute, what?
It was this all white paper mache looking dummy that's laying on top of it.
I haven't seen that.
No, I've never seen it either.
I'm walking the first
I'll have to check it
I'm
out.
walking over there, and I even like startled backwards because I looked over and there's his face like looking at me, and I'm like, oh, why is there a dummy down here? Jeez.
Nice.
Jeremiah.
Sorry.
We're hearing Jeremiah's inner thoughts come to life. So
Well,
But no, it's that was.
Well, and with you, the little growl that you were just talking about that Walter is known for, when we did a rotation and we were standing probably 5-6 feet away from Squidward, and I think you were on the other side at the time, that there were 2 females within 5 feet of that same general area where the paint cans are, and you come right out of there.
Right.
They had heard a sigh, like a
oh yeah, you told me about
sigh,
that.
and so it's funny that even you guys have been doing this since almost 10 years there, and even other people that are just coming in are experiencing some of the same experiences that they were 4 or 5 years ago.
Right.
The probably the one that stood out the most for me that night was down in the basement, and you had half the group on another section of the basement, and I had probably, I think it was 4 of them with me. And I have a girl that's standing next to me, and then her mom and her sister up in front, standing facing us. And we've got the millimeter down on the ground, and she's also holding the K2 meter. And I just started noticing, and I always ask people, once I start seeing it, I start to kind of ask them if they've ever seen those little red pin dot lights,
right.
And I'm asking them, and they're like, the mom's kind of like, well, I guess maybe I have, but I've never thought anything of it in my life,
Sure.
And I'm like, I wouldn't either, but these little, it looks like a little red orb that just lit like a little flash that I've noticed. The more we do this and the more investigations we do, it was really active in the forum.
Right.
When we did the theater there.
Definitely.
The shop, we do that. We see those. But tonight, that night, I started just paying attention to seeing if I could see that down in the basement, and the girl next to me, I just noticed right behind her head there's a red flash.
Oh wow.
And that's when I started talking about it, and they're like, no, I haven't seen anything. I was like, I'm only bringing it up because I just saw a red flash behind your head right here. And she was just like, what?
Get it off.
And she's like, but just a second ago, I felt someone grab my arm.
Oh wow. Yeah.
And I was like, there's a possibility of the red lights being, energy of manifestation.
Right.
She goes,
Yep.
so that was real? And she just made a beeline right to her
Oh
mom
my god.
and everything, and her mom hugged her and everything like that, and she's just like, oh my god. She's like, it grabbed my elbow.
Yeah.
Is that
There's
over
a
by
hand.
the stand under the stage?
Jeez. I can't remember.
Is it closer to the elevator, do you know, like in that corner? As you go into the next
we're
room?
not. It's not by the elevator. It was like a little further in.
You go to the right?
I believe, yeah. No, left.
To left. Left is underneath the stage almost with the props. And
We were
everything,
left
yeah.
through the doorway,
Yeah,
back
okay.
off over here. That's where it was.
Yep.
With
Okay.
Christmas trees.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the stage.
Yeah.
I just had everything really dark, and I we went dark
Yeah.
down there, so it was really hard.
That-
But I just remember that happening, and it was
Right.
so. I mean, the emotion in her when it happened. So to me, I was like.
Yeah.
For me, I was like, score.
You're right.
For her, I was like, I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
That was real?
That was the comment out of her mouth.
That's
That
awesome.
was real, and I'm like, oh, there's a possibility that was real.
The thing that was odd about the whole Squidward incident with Renee and the tugging, as that was going on, I actually looked up at that time and I saw an outline of a shadow dart from left to right, like it took off towards where the food is at in that next room. And I didn't say anything to Renee at all about it because she was freaking out about her, getting tugged on it.
Right.
Well, later on that night we're driving home and I was talking about just the whole incident, bringing up stuff. That's crazy, that happened. And I said, I didn't want to say anything to you, Renee, in the moment, but I saw something dart right from left to right, And she goes, I explained to her, because my oldest son at the time was like 5 years old or something like that. He was young, and he had this distinct look about it, like a side profile, where his head's kind of round and his hair and his face, it gives off a certain look. And I go, it kind of looked like Leo as a kid. And she's like almost freaked out. She said, oh my God. I saw the exact same thing, but it was going from right to left, the opposite way. She said she saw the exact same thing. She said, I didn't want to tell you because it reminded me of Leo, and I didn't want to freak you out. I'm like, so we saw the same entity, and it was kind of shorter, probably. It reminded me of a young kid, but like maybe early 20s, kind of.
Huh.
And the fact that she got tugged on, and we go back and listen to audio, you hear this thing go Squidward and kind of growl at us. It's like, well, did we hear this thing actually talk to us? And it's obviously capable of touching people if he's grabbing people's arms.
Yeah, because I think 2 or 3 of the people that were there, some of the women were having their hair pulled and their hoodies were being
Right.
pulled in
Yeah.
the room where the stage is at.
Yeah, see, and he roams underneath that. He never goes. One thing I noticed, he never goes. If you keep going right out towards the back staircase where
Uh-huh.
the other one is, the darker one, he never goes over that way for some reason. It's always this side of the building, underneath the stage, underneath that ductwork, by the paint cans and that kind of area. I don't know what the other guy is, who the other guy is, the one you guys think you were calling Wyatt.
Yeah. Well, Wyatt, we all came as a group. I don't know where you were.
Is that when you got lost and you told me about it? You told me you got
That's
lost.
a fun story because every time I turned around, I was by myself.
The group just
You kept telling me this.
my group just kind of like went wherever I went, or they would break up, and I'd actually follow them. And
Right.
I did because I didn't want to leave anybody
Yeah.
to wander by themselves. So I always kind of followed everyone where they went.
Yeah.
And I swear to God, I turn around and Roth is nowhere to be seen
Yep.
anywhere. I'm like, where is he?
We were trying to do some different things, just
Yeah.
go silent.
Yeah.
Just
Right.
be quiet,
Yeah.
be silent. And so there were a couple of the girls that would stay with me, but then, after several minutes go by, we're dark,
Mm-hmm.
and I would say something, and I can't see because it's pitch dark, so I'd turn my night vision camera on and look through the little lens, and I'm like, hello? They were right here. Nobody. And so I'm down there by the paint can,
Yeah.
which is where he hangs out.
Oh yeah. Yep.
And I'm just by myself again.
Yeah.
And it was,
and we had an incident when he was off doing whatever he was doing by himself.
Being lost.
The girls, I had a huge group. There was only one other guy in the group, and we were all standing there, and the girl was holding your K2. It was not going off at all. It's nothing. And
that usually means there's nothing there.
could be. Now, we're talking to Walter. We're just
Right.
asking, hey, Walter, come this way. Finally, one of the girls said, hey, are you Wyatt? is Wyatt with us? Man, the K2 just started jumping.
Oh wow.
It just started jumping like crazy, and
Interesting.
it was, the more they talked to Wyatt, it just kept going, and then finally it died off. But I thought that was interesting.
Oh yeah,
I was like, okay, I don't know who Wyatt is, but that's cool.
yeah. So I've never been told their names specifically,
Yeah.
other than the girl upstairs. But
Well, what we did is when we were getting ready to go to the basement, I think on our second go around or something like that, Carl happened to be walking by.
right.
And so I said, hey, Carl, come over here and tell us the story about, who's downstairs. And,
Yeah.
Carl loves to
Oh yeah.
tell stories, and he's
Yeah.
the best one for it. And that's where we got the names, I think, in
Yeah.
our group, because Carl was sitting there going through
Sure.
telling us who they were.
Yeah. And Carl, for people that at home, he was the maintenance man there for years upon years. He knows that place inside and out. The first time we started going there, he was the first person we ever met. He let us in the building, showed us around, gave us the tour, told us the history behind the place. What's funny is when he first started talking about the paranormal stuff, he was kind of real timid a little bit to tell a story. I mean, he would tell some stuff, but it was just like, because he's like, wow, you guys actually believe in this stuff, and here I'm having these experiences, and now you want to try to find this stuff. So the more we got to know him and talk to him, he's become more animated. So the fact that he's proud to tell the stories now, it's fun to see him come out of the shell, basically.
Matter of fact, one I got to tell you real quick, and when it wasn't the first night we were there, the second night we were getting set up for the podcast.
Right.
We were thinking about doing a podcast there, and we were setting everything up, and we had just investigated, that evening. Then everybody was there, and some of us were out walking around the building. We were there, and right before, well, actually, it was during the podcast. I ended up going somewhere, and it was really funny because I haven't been there a lot, and you can get lost there real easy. And I remember I was getting ready to come down the stairs, and I couldn't come down because you guys were live. So I had to go figure out how to get from point D to point A without going down the stairs. And let me tell you what, I was by myself, the place was dark, I had no flashlight. It reminded me once again of you sending me down in the basement. Yeah. And so I made it. Well, as I was coming in, Carl hollered at me. And he said, come here, and I thought, oh, I'm in trouble. And he comes over and he goes, are you guys wireless? Or are you guys plugged in?
Because we weren't, were we?
No, we were not.
We weren't even using Wi-Fi.
We weren't, no, because we were just recording.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you were broadcasting live. You're just,
And so I go, I don't think and so I start looking for a wire, and I go, well, why, what's wrong? He goes, you guys have got this whole building in an uproar. And I go, what do you mean? And he said, well, at the beginning of the year, they had, or right towards the end of the last year, they had gone, and if Carl's listening, hopefully he'll understand what I'm saying. They all went digital.
right.
They were at first.
It was at first? Okay, so everything there is ran by a computer.
Right.
And we locked it down.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was going on.
It was going haywire. All the readings were going. Yeah, and he said, so how long is this going to take? Because you guys have everything. He goes, I'm worried that the sprinkler systems are completely, And I said, I don't. And so I started looking for the wire. And then I went, wait a minute. I go, no, we're not, because we were taping.
Right.
And he just went, wow. Okay.
So to add to that, they printed off.
I never even put the laptop on the network.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
You're just recording, only.
And so
I did finally. I think the next morning I did finally put my phone on the Wi-Fi there, but
because
I
he
tried
said,
to, but I couldn't get the password to work.
Because he said, as soon as you're done, you need to talk to Jason and find out, because I'm off the charts upstairs.
Yeah.
Well, to add to that, Cindy, his wife, gave me the printout of everything that was going wrong in the system, and I've got it in my. I didn't bring it tonight, but I do have. I know. But he messaged me and said, I think it was like Monday. He messaged me and he said everything stopped at 3:05, and that's a.m. Sunday morning, and that's about the time we called it an evening.
That's crazy.
And I kid you not. And he said everything went back to normal with the system.
Is that 2 or 3 page deal you were showing of everything?
I kept it in my bag.
Did you?
Yeah, because I was going to show you guys.
Yeah, I want to see that for sure.
And bringing it.
It said not responding.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah, because we weren't even touching the system at all. Yeah.
About 3 o'clock, we called it a night, and everybody was slowly drifting back into the dining room.
Wow. Yeah, that place from end to end is pretty much covered with some kind of activity, whether it be natural or paranormal. It seemed like you said, and you guys found out this time, it's not just the usual spots we go to; it's everywhere.
Normally, when I've gone, it's the stairs. We usually focus a lot on the stairs, and the minute Renee and I were just going to set stuff up, we both looked at each other and heard, the little girl, and it's awesome when you both look at each other and you just you heard her, Renee and I were having all kinds of stuff going on by the stairs, and that was just when, and I've been there 4 times, and I've never had that much activity there, ever. It was amazing.
Well, and Renee and Ross were waiting for us. When we were coming in Friday night, and they said that they were alone because John came and opened it up for us, let those two in, and then they heard the female voice. They went out walking around and they heard the female voice. I don't know if she said anything, if she said hello or something like that, but they were alone in the building when they heard a voice like Friday night.
Yep.
When they were,
and you'll hear that female voice tonight later on in the second part of the show. We've caught her multiple times, and it's distinct. We've all heard her for the most part, and she's very vocal. The first time I was there ever, she talked to. Nicole was with us at the time. It was Nicole, myself, Claire, and Renee. No, it was just Renee, myself, Nicole, and Carl. And then later on, it was you, myself, and Claire heard her. We could all hear her talking to us.
Yeah, that's the infamous.
Well, in Jeremiah, we actually had I'm sorry if you're watching the show and I don't remember your name. Starts with a D. Dan. Dan bought a really cool piece of equipment. And you can probably explain.
No, Jeremiah, I'll have you explain because you worked with it a little bit more than I did.
Okay, so
is it the Buddy Bear? Is that what it is? Boo Buddy. That's what it is. Yeah. I knew
I'll tell you the biggest experience I had with that thing. I was actually the only one present, and I'd gone all the way to the very top for some reason on that staircase by that conference room. I don't remember what it was for, but it was on my way back down. Okay, so this bear, the way it works, if I understand it right, it has several like vocal things that it says on a timer. But it also has sensors that can trigger it to say things. Pressure, touch, temperature, EMF, lights up in different ways. So I'm coming down these stairs and I hear it say, "Ooh, that tickles." And the only time I've ever seen it say that was when someone is holding it. Like when they first pick it. So I assumed that was triggered by touch or pressure. Okay. It also has little LEDs that light up in the pause when that happens. And those were, sure enough, those were lit.
Oh, wow.
And so I sit down and Rose? Is that
Mary Beth?
Mary Beth. Oh, I'm terrible with names. So
okay, John, go ahead. Jeremy.
That's Mr. John to you. No, I'm kidding. So I sit down by the bear, and so I'm just talking to Mary Beth, and Mary Beth, are you kind of liking this new toy we brought you? Come on over and play. Don't let me scare you off, and just sit down and talk with me. And just trying to cue in some more activity, and then it did something it's getting warm in here.
Oh, wow.
Or something like, which means the temperature's gone up.
Right.
And so, which that was kind of cool. But then I heard like some footsteps, sounded like a kid skipping back down the hallway behind me.
Wow.
And that was cool. And, I was sitting there trying to cue her to come back and play with the bear some more. But then I heard, I jumped up and ran back downstairs right quick because I heard what sounded like one of the groups of people come upstairs into that hallway back behind.
Right. Talking about the one underneath the stairs that goes down the long hallway, or talking about the one that goes to the new offices?
It goes down through all the dressing rooms.
Okay, yeah. Yep.
And so, cause I heard doors open and close. I heard voices, like lots of people talking.
Right.
And I didn't think it was time.
Were you by yourself?
I was by myself.
Okay, that was that moment. Okay.
Yeah, I was by myself. So I crap, they're starting another rotation. So I jumped up and I ran downstairs, and everyone's still downstairs. Is there any group upstairs right now? I think I asked Renee that. Is there any group upstairs right now? And she said, no, we haven't seen anyone up. Are you kidding me? So I ran back upstairs and tagged it on the recorders and back down, because there were like, I don't know, the ridiculous number of recorders right there on that staircase. So
it's become the popular go-to.
It is.
One thing I want to say about Mary Beth, which is a lot of people, this is going to be interesting. It's going to be kind of mind-blowing.
Rosa and Wilson, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think Mary Beth is, the first time we were there, it was like I said, it was the time when Nicole was sitting there with me and Renee and Carl. And we heard this, that was the first time we heard about this girl that supposedly cries around that area. So we were trying to trigger that, trying to say stuff to her. And all of us, except for Carl, because Carl kind of has a hard time hearing too, but I think he can hear better now. But we hear this, like, I said, somebody asked, I think it's Nicole asked, what's your name? And you're, couple, and I hear it and I go, I'd bet my life on it. It's a 2-syllable word, and it sounds like, I didn't tell him this yet, and it says like, the second part's Beth. So my go-to in my mind is Elizabeth, maybe. I'm like, it doesn't feel right. It doesn't sound right. It sounds something with Beth. I know it's Beth. And then we asked everybody, "Do you guys hear that?" And they're like, "Yeah." So I'm like, "Is it Elizabeth? Something Beth?" And then Carl goes, "Mary Beth?" I'm like, "Maybe. I think so." I mean, I can hear the first part. I couldn't hear it as clear. And he started telling us about who Mary Beth was. Now the part that's really weird is the Mary Beth that he knows, who's passed away. She passed when we first started going there. She had passed away like 5 years before that. She was a mother of at least 2 that I know of, because I went to school with them, high school. Her name was Mary Beth Regal. They had 2 boys. I can't remember their name. We just called them the Regal twins because they were tall, looked identical. So this is a adult woman that he knew that performed at the Depot Theater.
Wow. But
the thing is, though, why are we encountering a child?
Right.
A female that's Mary Beth. My question is it Mary Beth that he knew? Is she projecting herself, and she loved the place so much? She spent so many hours there. Is she projecting herself as a child with Ghost?
Right.
Which you and I have talked about, previous with the live. Remember with Jason and Grant seeing the live talking to a woman, and it happened to be her inner child. Was it her child? It was her ghost projecting?
There's a child that was haunting her house, and they even saw the child, and then come to find out when they went to go see her friend and visited her friend at her house, they saw a picture up on the mantle of 2 girls, and they're like, who's these 2 girls? And the lady's like, oh, that's me and Susan,
Right.
I forget what her name was, and they're like, you're kidding me. That's the girl and she finally said, because of the tragedy or whatever was happening in the house, somehow as a live person, her child's spirit was actually replaying itself over and over again.
Yeah, and this is the part I wish Gloria was here, because she's the one that says she never believes in child ghosts. That's what I'm trying to figure out. What if there is or isn't such thing as a child? Maybe it's an adult, but that doesn't make sense, because what if child die? If a child dies in a location?
Right.
and then comes back and starts haunting. So that's where I kind of differ. But the fact is, we think it's Mary Beth. She answers to us on command when you talk to her up there at this stair location and upstairs. But yet, it's still a child.
What do you think the deep sighs are that you get up there? Because I know,
sighs?
yeah, upstairs.
Well, you gotta remember, the location where it's at is right next to the conductor's quarters, where they used to stay.
Right.
And they had so many people coming in and out up there that, like, the conductor had his own special. He was high at the top of the totem pole. He had his room, and then everybody else slept on the floor or out on the outside. They couldn't go into his room, which that's why, especially if you were, a non-white, you couldn't go in there at all. That's why when I've gone in there in the past, I've played that angle, and that's when I've got shoved out of his room. That's when I've been told to get out of there, go away, whatever, get out of there. But to me, I think it could be anybody, because you got to remember also too that was also a hotel at one point, that whole floor area, and also they used it as a hospital when because from there, that location to where the Dodge Theater is, and that whole area right there used to be underground tunnels. So once again, if you were non-white, you had to go underneath the tunnels to get in and out to go to the train depot itself. But they also, if somebody got shot across the street, because that was like the red light district not too far from there, they would bring you to the hotel, which is why I think we've caught gunshots there before.
Yeah.
That's a reenactment. It's a lot of, remember this is Dodge City, so this is the Wild West at the time where shootouts happened. Not as glamorous as they made it on, Hollywood makes it out with White Earth and stuff like that. It's more of but still happened. I mean, people shot there, people stole cattle.
That's a historical moment.
Yeah, it's still old West town, but so I don't know, man. I mean, as far as your question goes, it could be anybody, honestly. As far as with the growls and stuff, it could be the conductors.
Yeah, because I think was it you or maybe Renee? Renee, if you're on here,
She is. I see her.
I think somebody was at the foot of the stairs, and we were looking up. Was it you that you had seen a white dress?
I did. One of my very first times.
The banister there, and it was going into that. What now is a. You'd be amazed.
Yeah. You told me you can't go up there anymore. Yeah.
Yeah. It's now it's looks like a lunchroom.
It's
like a conference room up there.
Yeah, you do have that. You have one office
couple
room.
chairs.
That was one of our
You do have one office room.
places to go.
For anybody who hasn't been there, the depot has the main lobby that looks just like the 1800s. It has the ticket booth and all that. It's very beautiful. Ceiling there. They've
original woodwork.
Yeah,
everything's the same.
they've redone it, restored it. You have the dining hall, which was part of the
Harvey Girls
with Fred Harvey.
Yeah.
You have you got a loud dog.
You have a phantom dog.
Yeah,
I figured that. Yeah.
So you had Fred Harvey and the Harvey Girls that ran the dining hall,
Right.
and the hotel part. Now the hotel part was from the main lobby as well. You can go.
Right.
And also connected to the depot right now is also the come on down.
Keep talking. Music theater company.
You have the you have the Amtrak that still comes through there and everything too. So you have that's going through, and on the nightly basis. So there's probably like 5 or 6 trains that go through a night.
Well, there's Freightliners that come through also too.
Yeah, that's what we saw.
Yeah.
And then you also have on the second floor, which was part of the hotel.
Hotel, right.
And then you have a third floor up to that.
That was the conductor area.
The second floor has now office spaces that go from one end to the other. It's all done. You'll be amazed.
Yeah, I've seen pictures online.
And it also has the sound room, the technical support for the dinner theater that's also now in there that they have. So you have this humongous 4-story building that is, we were able to get 30 people broken down into, 4 groups all together, and it was pretty active throughout the whole night on this.
Right. Yeah.
And we couldn't even get into areas that we could before.
Yeah, we used to get to.
So it was a little difficult, but we just kind of cut ourselves off and just relied on being quiet most of the time. So it was fun.
Did you ever get a chance to look at that video that I
Just from the
showed
show me,
you?
I was going to cut it up and bring it, but I didn't have a chance to. So we'll have it next time we talk about this
Okay.
again.
So what did you and Paula have?
Actually, a lot. A lot
I
more than
figured,
I ever
I figured.
had before, and most of it, Friday night, the flashlights. We had the flashlights going, and I have never had flashlights go like that. And at one point, we said, "Are you a male?" And bam, that light flashlight came
Where were you at in the
down in
building?
the theater.
Okay, I missed that part. You said that. Sorry.
You
Yeah,
guys had a lot going on in there.
and all night long, there's somebody playing with it.
Right.
Because they go up, they go down, they go
Mhm.
up and down, and then Saturday night, we had a group in there, and we had a couple that had never gone to anything like this before.
Nice.
And Paula went up and walk and put flashlights up there.
Oh, cool. That's a good idea.
And there's another story I'll tell you. But the gentleman who never had anything to, had never been to one before,
Mhm.
he looked up there and he said, "Is there anybody up there?" Bam, flashlight comes on.
Oh, good.
Paula was up there, and she was up there by herself. And
Go Paula.
yeah, well, that
because-
was the last time. She took somebody up with her next time, because she was up there and like started going, "Oh my!" And she just like that. And I said, "Paula, what's the matter?" She said, "I don't know." And
I just had a fit. You know?
did you
Right.
see something? Yeah. And she was looking. She, "Well, I don't see any bats up here." And what had happened, she said, it was like black fingers right
Oh, wow.
on her face.
Oh, wow.
And it, you know, Paula.
Yeah, right.
It kind of shook.
Kind of
her.
rattled a
This
little
was
bit.
up on the
Catwalk.
not up on the actual one, but up in the
Yeah,
balcony,
yeah.
looking down at the stage was right there.
Right.
So it's
Thing about the
it's
catwalk
there.
too, it's interesting you point that out. It's all painted black because that needs to be, so when they walk up there,
No.
it doesn't distract people down below. It's just so they can kind of hide in the shadows when they're doing production of the show and
You
whatnot.
can't see him.
Yeah, it's as Rosen was found out, he almost walked off the edge of it, 2 years ago, and it's pitch black.
They have that blocked off now.
Do they really?
Yeah,
You
it's,
can put a chain
That's
there
right.
and stuff.
Still though, chain's gonna be
Yeah.
Not
yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll
Yeah.
tell you, I went up it this time for some reason. I was very shaky,
Yeah, it's
and
I would
you
use
could
that same
tell
way.
that the floor was wobbling a bit and
Yeah.
everything. And I got up there, I'm like crawling like this, trying to get up there. It was hard
Oh, I
just for
bet.
me,
Yeah.
height wise. I was up there for a little while before I was like, all right, I'm going to attempt to like climb down. That was the hardest part, was climbing down.
You actually climbed down? How do you? Once you go back to the door?
you.
No, I went up to the top
third
top.
one, the very one.
Yeah.
Oh no, I never been on that one. I never been on that one.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah, I understand. I never go
Yeah.
up there because I knew better.
The actual
Yeah.
I'm scared of heights, so I'm not
Yeah, that never
gonna.
was
No.
safe for me.
Yeah, I would never do that part of it. I'm sorry.
You and I went up there.
Yeah.
One of our, was it Jake? I'd gone up, started walking, and you can feel it
Oh, I bet.
jitter a
Yeah.
little bit.
Yeah.
And I look back and I hear Jake going, "Yeah, I'm not big on heights. I don't know if I can." And he's still doing that. And this guy is, if you've ever seen Jeremiah, he's as big as Jeremiah is.
yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And this poor guy is just doing this the whole way up. And then I was like, "Are you okay?" And he goes, "Yeah, I'm good. I'm just, man, I don't know about this, man. I don't know about this." And so I take off walking, and he goes, "Oh, it's shaking." And
Poor
I was
guy.
like,
Poor guy.
"Do you want to get down?" I mean, you know,
Yeah, I
he was
will.
like, "Yeah, I think yeah." And it took him a good few minutes. I mean,
I don't know
It's-
why.
The catwalk's not. If you fall, you're gonna fall a little
Yeah,
while.
you're
I
done.
mean, it's pretty high up there too. It's
Yeah.
I don't know. I just maybe 30 feet, maybe more.
I don't know why I.
It's way up there. I would
The
never.
first time I ever
Yeah.
went up there was when we were filming 2 years ago out there, and I was fine with it. This time,
over here.
yeah,
Yeah. See, and that reminds me when you said you guys had the experience there too. When you were just talking about, we had the same thing. You could hear when we were filming too. It was just myself and Renee and the camera guy, and we could hear people across the way on the other catwalk talking to us, and down in the theater right below you. And I'm like trying to answer, who's here? And you can hear something talking back to you. But the fact that you guys heard that, what did it say? Look over here.
Yeah, it said, look over here.
That's wild. Yeah.
Yeah, because Jason had gone up and turned and went the other direction, and I got up and immediately kind of stood off to the side, and the camera guy got up, and as soon as he stood there, I started letting him know we're here,
Right.
and if he'd like to come hang with us and whistle whatever he normally does, and then he goes, look over here, and I was like, awesome, and then next thing I know, the camera guy's leaving. He was done. So it was just Jason and I left up there.
Which I forgot about that.
Oh, I was up there with you.
Were you guys?
No, I wasn't up
You were, you were.
You
There
guys
was the
up
three
there?
of us.
Yeah.
You remember when he left? He was,
Yeah, he hightailed it, man. He was.
And go ahead.
We did hear, another gentleman that was with the group, we heard, it was a soft whistle, but it was a whistle.
That happens a lot in there. You hear whistling, and somebody in the auditorium part.
Yeah, and it's a
The theater.
definite whistle.
Oh yeah, it's clear. Yeah,
And,
now see, this time I heard other people were hearing whistles.
I didn't.
Is that right?
Some
I
people
think I
were.
was-
Somebody heard a whistle just out of nowhere, and they were hearing whispering and what sounded like footsteps moving about.
Yeah. Thing is, that place is so soundproof
Yeah.
that you shouldn't be able to hear anything from outside. That's very well
Very true.
because it's
Very true.
it's a theater. It's one of the top theaters in probably for sure all of Western Kansas, but I don't know about maybe even Kansas. They did so much soundproofing and just the acoustics in there should be just right that whatever you're hearing should be in that room with you guys.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's pretty freaky. Yep.
Our group didn't have anything. It was Jake and Paula who came to our rescue at the
That's
very
what he
tail
told me.
end of the night.
Yeah.
That was his exact
Helped
words.
us, yeah, because we were just sitting there like, it's no
was
pun intended. It is dead in here.
Yeah.
There's nothing happening.
Yeah, it was.
Renee and I
Everyone
had
had stuff.
a little bit of stuff go on in the theater with the flashlight and mainly with the flashlight. When we first went in there, I'm not sure how long we'd been in there. That was the night that I had started not feeling so great, and so I was sitting in that theater room. I was having a hard time staying awake there for a little while, but then I started hearing footsteps up on the catwalk where Paula had put that flashlight, and so I mean everyone in the theater was hearing them. Everyone in the group was. So I jump up and I go run up there to the catwalk just to check and make sure there wasn't someone else up there.
Sure.
And because I mean it sounded like real footsteps, and and so I got up. I walk out there, and everyone, as soon as they heard the door open and heard me walk out onto the catwalk, everyone in the group says, Jeremiah, you have company up there. So somewhere between me leaving the theater and getting up there, the flashlight came on.
Oh wow.
And so I walk in there, and I'm sitting about 2 foot from the flashlight, and we're trying to get it to interact and trying to get it to turn the flashlight off. And it's not doing anything. I think it might have dimmed a few times. And so I backed off. I'm about 10 feet away and sat down on one of those buckets that's up there.
All right.
And as soon as I did that, boom, flashlight goes off. And so just a few seconds later, Renee pipes up and says, "Okay, I'm gonna get up and go find a different seat, but it's awful dark in here. Can you turn the flashlight back on for me?" Boom, flashlight comes on.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And then I don't think it ever went back off all the way, but it dimmed a few times and brightened back up, but I don't think it ever turned back off all the way.
Gotcha.
So,
Wow.
but that was, and we heard a lot of noises and stuff in there. That was about the extent of our experience in the theater room, but it was still pretty cool.
Oh yeah. Definitely. Yep.
Well, one of my favorite stories of the night, and she'll probably kill me for telling it, but I think it's so funny. We were just getting started, we were still getting the guests were still piling in and everything, and a few of us kept going off and checking on this, checking on that.
Right.
And I remember I was standing over by the DVR and just getting some batteries checked and everything like that. And Paula comes in, walks over to me, and she's just got this look of like, well, she's seen a ghost, or just had that moment, and she walked over to me. And she goes, "So there's a new bear on the stairs up there." I was like, "Yes, yeah." She goes, "Had no idea it talked." So she was up there. She walked all the way up to the stairs and was doing stuff, and all of a sudden the bear started talking.
Yeah, that almost sounds like a little girl.
Oh my god.
Oh, jeez.
I bet she come in with
I can just imagine. Because I knew what it was, but she didn't know.
Yeah, and when it talks, it doesn't light up.
No,
It's like a little girl.
Yeah.
Hey, do you want to say hi?
I think about Paula when she gets scared because she's pretty mild mannered for the most part. But then she starts cussing and the
So
balls
you
start
really
flying.
need to go check the video.
Oh my god, I need to see that. That's hilarious.
I just love that stage. She's like, "I had no idea it talked." So,
I love it. That's awesome.
yeah, that was
Yeah,
one of
because
my
it's set up to
favorite
go off, I think, in the directions, maybe 4
So you were
seconds
telling
or
me,
something like
yeah.
that.
That's funny.
She thought she had the
Yeah.
payday of every boy.
Wow. Yeah, that place is definitely fun to go investigate, and then it's active and it doesn't disappoint. That's for sure. What?
What? No.
Sorry.
No.
What else did you guys have? Anything? Any
Well,
other
you and
memorable
Paul were
stories?
walking down the hall and heard the woman talk behind the doors.
Yeah, that was on Friday night. We were walking past the. We were kind of on our way back to where the girls' staircase is. There.
Right.
We're walking past the dressing rooms, and we're just talking about different things because we're kind of just exploring all the new sections and stuff.
Right.
What we could have, and we were just talking about this and that, and as we're passing the one of the dressing rooms, there's a female on the other side talking.
Oh wow.
And it just stopped us in our tracks, and we're like,
Oh yeah, and we haven't even touched on all the crap that happened in that dressing room
Is that
area.
behind? Is that behind the stage area you're talking about, or are you talking
no,
about
the second floor. Second floor.
Second floor.
Yeah.
The hallway on the other side of the door from
stairs.
Mary Beth's staircase.
Yeah,
all down there.
that place
That's where you
is
had that
nuts.
little orb thing.
that's
showing
area.
up. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a place where if you stood and looked down, it got uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why we
Why
always.
your teammate
Yeah.
leaving you? The only way you can see is through a night vision
Viewfinder. Yep.
Ah,
I can't believe you didn't even hear us go into the room.
you guys were that quiet.
Well, and I made sure to tell everybody because I didn't want it to bleed over to where Jeremiah and Renee were, because they were just on the other side of the door, and I knew they were going to be over there in a hot spot with the staircase and stuff. So I was like, let's be as quiet as we can, and everybody was. Everybody was very respectful, and they followed right on in. And yeah, next thing I know, Roth is nowhere to be seen.
Again.
for the first time of the night, and then I lost him again
Yeah,
downstairs.
that's what he was telling me. He's coming forward behind that.
I had to come upstairs one time to find him on the
DVR.
monitor.
That's
I'm
what he
like,
said.
okay, there he is. And I take off running. I get down there and, what? Once again, I'm in the basement by myself.
Roth.
Yeah.
No, that hallway is active. That's the place we used to shoot lasers down there because you would see shadows all the time.
It's just like
And
it's moving.
oh yeah,
This time.
doors.
This
Because
weekend.
there's a natural light that comes in from the staircase that stays on all the time, the emergency light, and you can see shadows past that and break those beams constantly. But the thing is, though, you can see underneath the door. You can see stuff move underneath it.
Really?
Outside the door, in the light. So we chased things down there. On one of the videos I have, I didn't put on there because it was through the production company, and I didn't want to have to chop it up because he's talking to us in between takes. We're filming going down the hallway to the end of it. You take a left, and it goes out to the very back. There's a staircase. The prison stairs, as you call them, the prison stairs.
Yeah.
I get to the end of the door, and I start to open the door, and you hear a door slam. So I run out down there and chase it down to that door, and you can tell it's that door. It was raining that night. I touched the door's dry as can be, so nobody could have opened the door into the rain and then
Right.
looked out. I actually looked outside, there was nobody out there, but I had that on footage too, but I didn't give it to you because like I said, the producer guy, the camera guy's talking to us, and I'm like,
Right.
it's it could be, if I were to present that as evidence, somebody would be like, oh, it's just them, staging it or whatever. But it was really something that actually touched it and opened it, and there was nobody in the stairwell. So.
Right.
Well, and that's the first time I've ever seen, and I can't, so people that watch this later, I'm not saying that it was an orb, but, that's the first time I've ever seen a dust particle or possible orb, move that fast on the ground.
Right.
And then just shoot straight up in front of you.
Right.
That,
you showed me the video, and it's pretty interesting. Yep.
Very interesting.
Excuse me. Okay, well, I think we're going to take a quick break here right now, and we'll come back and wrap up a couple of things with the public investigation, and then we'll start diving into the actual evidence part of it that we've caught over the years. So this will be the fun part.
That'll be
so
fun.
Stay tuned for that.
I thought this was a fun part.
It's all a fun part.
All right, we'll be back in about 5 minutes. we're back.
All right.
Hear the evidence.
So we were just discussing last weekend's event that we had on Saturday into Sunday morning. It was a great evening. Like I said, it was for a benefit for the Depot Theater. We have another one coming up, sold out again next weekend.
Yep. 27th, yep.
And then we're going to be doing it again for the April 14th.
Yep.
So
Do you know, is that on sale yet, the 14th?
he's already announced it. Yeah, he's
Okay.
already putting it out there. I think he's already has a waiting list of people.
wow.
So, and there's people who are calling in and wanting to buy 10 spots right away.
Yep.
So
So if you want to go to this one, next upcoming one in April, you want to make sure you act pretty quick.
Yeah.
Contact the depot
yeah.
and get your tickets reserved because they'll go fast again.
And how we always do the events is there's 30 people. We break up into 4 groups, and you'll have 2 investigators with you at all times, and you get to see every aspect of the building that night. We do anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour. Just kind of
Right.
we just kind of winged it this last time. And it wasn't that bad. We kind of spoke to each other about 45 minutes in to see how everyone's doing.
Yeah.
And then, if everyone was good to go to meet, we did. But other than that, if people were actually having stuff going on, then we stayed a little bit, give them 10, 15 more minutes.
Right.
And we invite you to participate with us.
Oh, for
Right,
sure, yeah,
right.
definitely.
It's a chance for the public to actually do what we do every single night that we do this
Right.
on our own. So it's a chance for you to have your own experience if that's what you're looking for. And so far, nobody's been, I don't think, disappointed with the depot. And the fact that they've done a lot of renovating to the place and have there's not any, the upstairs, second floor, and even going up to the 3rd floor used to be all vacant and looked like a unfinished attic, basically. And now everything is office space, beautiful woodwork everywhere. The flooring is still the original floor
Right.
to it there, so it's wonderful. I think maybe the renovation has stirred up a bit, but it's a good time.
Yeah. It's kind of bittersweet that they sealed off all that stuff because when we started going there, it was majority of it upstairs was all unfinished. Like Jason was saying, it was basically down to the bare bones. It was just the studs up and just the original wood floor, and it was like it was years ago, basically. When they first started doing the renovation, and now it's all modernized and stuff like that. So, they needed to do what they had to do.
Right.
So.
Yeah, because I remember the last time I was there, you and I were chasing something around, and we were going between all
Yeah.
the...
Oh, yeah.
I get up there and I'm going, wait, it was all offices, and we couldn't get into
They
them.
fixed it up
It was,
pretty good.
and it was hard when you were upstairs in that unfinished spot to. You think you'd see a shadow take off, and that was the main issue. We were seeing a shadow that would peek around corners, dart this way, and I'd see Leo take off running one way, and you had to be mindful of the pillars that were right there, and the board, because if you didn't go through it very right, you hurt yourself pretty bad.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
We're stuck.
Because I don't know how many times I've nailed my head.
I'd be like, wait, Leo, wait!
Wow. Okay.
Just kidding, it wasn't.
Oh no.
Oh, geez. On that note.
So, should we dive into the good stuff?
Let's do
Yes.
it. I think
Okay.
everybody's waiting.
Do
Yep.
it, do it.
All right, people at home, you may want to throw some headphones on if you have them laying around, just because some of the stuff you can hear audibly with or without, but some of the stuff you definitely want to hear with headphones on, just because they're kind of hard to hear at times.
We have a guest here, and I've heard him several times, so I'm going to give this to her
Okay.
so she can hear.
Are you?
Yeah.
You sure?
Can you figure out
Are you really sure?
Yeah, there you go. You want to hand that
Hello.
to her?
Yeah. Oh, got it?
Yeah.
All right. So with the evidence, I'll kind of set it up, and then what we'll do is we'll play it a couple times. We won't say what it says, and then we'll go over what it actually is doing. So first one I'm gonna say it's on the 2nd floor of the hotel. We'll do EVPA, and this one's pretty obvious. it's nothing too crazy, but it's still the fact that it wasn't any of us, and you can tell by our reaction. So
Yours is going to have a lag. You won't hear it at the same time we do. Okay, ready?
yep, go ahead and play.
How much was it to stay the night here when you were alive?
And you guys?
No. It was this door over here. How much was it to stay the night here when you were alive?
And you guys?
No. It was this door over here.
Okay, so with that EVP, you hear Claire, who's one of our former teammates, she was asking about how much it did cost to stay at the hotel there. You can kind of hear a little bit of a whisper, and then you hear a pop, or in real time it sounded real loud. It was the door, because the doors were shut. You could hear something hitting on the door from the inside. And if I remember right, that was the door we couldn't get into because it's locked, so there's no way any of us could get in there. And this is, at the time, this is the very first time we ever got in there to investigate, so it was just investigators only. It was nobody else.
Where did this take place at?
It's okay. You know where the staircase is to go up to where the little girl is. It's the doors on the outside of there. It was one of the doors. I can't remember exactly without being there which door it was. It was one.
On the.
No, if you're sitting at the stairs to go up there to look, it's sitting on the second floor right next to you. It's one of those doors off to the side there. I think now that a couple of them have been changed into the original like doctor's office with the little bag in there. And then the one around the corner was I don't know if they ever did anything to it yet. Last time I was there, they had an easel up that says they're going to redo this room at some point. Whatever. It had a bathtub in it, I think, or something like that. Or I can't remember what it had in there.
Oh.
Go ahead, sorry.
The one that looks like a hotel room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's that one behind the staircase. It's like right across the hall, but it's behind down the hall a little bit.
Behind the
Yeah. Just
staircase?
Yeah.
It's a bathroom now.
What? They took that room out of there? Are you serious?
Yeah. Underneath the staircase of the girl,
Yeah.
of Mary Beth, just directly behind it
Oh,
is
wow.
a bathroom.
See, back then
Then
it
there's
used
the
to-
door that goes
Yeah.
down. Yeah.
Back then it used to be nothing. It used to be just bare bones and stuff like that, and that's where the knock was coming from, one of those doors in that area that we couldn't get into. We tried to get into it. And you could hear myself, Claire, and even Brendan's a huge skeptic. The fact that he heard it and he's like, no, that wasn't none of us. That kind of gave some credibility to it, because I mean I heard it and he heard it and Claire heard it too. You can tell by Claire's reaction. She's like, no. But that was that door. It surprised her because she's asking questions, not paying attention to the door right next to you, and it's popping right next to us. Oh, somebody's trying to come in there. Which, didn't you guys say that one of the guests, or you guys had an experience like that with one of the doors rattling? Or was it you guys were setting up?
Our group on the first time, they were down by the Mary Beth staircase. We were down in the office space,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't hear it personally, but half the group we were with
Mm-hmm.
kept hearing the door handle jiggling down there, and nobody was in the rooms.
So once again, go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, and then on the very next, when we swapped places with them, one of the guys in my group was, or mine and Renee's group was in one of the dressing rooms. He started having some pain in one of his ankles, and
Oh, that was Mike.
and so he got up and left that dressing room.
Right.
And as soon as he left the dressing room, the pain went away. So he went down,
right.
and I think he went out there and sat down and leaned with his back up against one of the doors.
Oh yeah.
And if I remember correctly, I was still in the dressing room, so I didn't hear or see it. But the door handle on that, the doorknob on that, the room he was leaning up against, it shook violently, like right by his head.
Wow. He was actually came out of that room, Jeremiah, and sat down on the couch that was outside on the hallway.
Oh,
And
okay.
he was setting up against it, because he was startled
Little shook
from
up, yeah.
the pain. And then that door just shook. He said he was up and he was gone.
Yeah, I remember this.
Renee came closer to seeing that than I did.
Yeah.
She was actually out there in the hallway. I was still in the dressing room, so.
Yeah, and he's one that I would think is, over the years, he started out as a skeptic, but he has loosened up a lot because of the job he's in. I mean, he's seen enough to where he's been around this enough that he's seen us enough that he knows what's real and what's not now. So I can kind of give him credibility too as far as what he experienced. But so it was just a simple knock. I mean, or a pound on the door that we all heard that was at the actual place. This next one is okay. This is down the hotel hallway where it used to be the unfinished part where now it's the actual city offices where we pass the elevator behind the opposite staircase. And I'm talking about when you come up the main staircase in the lobby.
Instead to go toward the stairs, you go the other way.
Yeah, you go right. This is the hotel hallway. We had a recorder in there. All the times I've been in there, I never had a lot of experiences. I mean, I had a couple of things, some shadows, some EMFs that I couldn't explain as far as, energy, because usually that place wasn't wired, there was nothing in there other than light. But this case, we had this is going to be letter B.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we had a recorder set up there, and you can hear people talking because this is early on. There's nobody else there. We're all downstairs, but it's not any of us saying what we're about to hear. So, you want to go ahead and play it when you're ready, Jeremiah?
Okay. Is the volume okay for you guys? I don't want to make you deaf.
I think it's fine from my end.
All right.
So,
here goes.
okay, so that was actually Ben talking. We were all downstairs, and I think we're just before we even got to the investigator, or maybe it was in between a break or something at that point. But you hear Ben talking, and then there was a girl that comes across right after him.
Right.
And it's kind of drawn out. It's not like a typical speech pattern. What I heard when we listened to it, and this has been, God, like you said, 10 years ago probably almost, it said, "Get away now," like you could hear us talking. Now, the thing is, where this recorder is, it's, like I said, to the right of the main staircase. When we first started going there years ago, they told us they used to see a little, I don't know if they said child or girl on the staircase. That's why when I would always set cameras up, I always would put one towards that grand staircase. We used to put a ball on there, too, if you remember that years ago. It's been a long time ago, yeah, but we never had anything with the ball ever, trigger, but the fact that the workers that were there from the depot, they would always see a kid on the staircase playing. Not the same staircase as the main with the little girl upstairs. This is the main grand one. Right next to the ticket booth. Yeah. When you first walk in the building, it's to the very right on the main level. That's where they always saw it. Well, this recorder is not too far from there. It's up the stairs and to the right instead of going left towards the main staircase.
Yeah, because we really don't.
Yeah. Well, you can't now because that's where the offices are now, right? City offices are down there. So did they have it blocked off?
No, you could walk down there.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah. I took a few guests.
Just
down there.
all the office doors are locked.
Oh,
There was one door that was unlocked, and it was that room was preserved in the old hotel room fashion.
Oh yeah.
So it had bed and everything in there.
Mm-hmm.
Signs everywhere. Please do not sit here.
Yeah. So they actually moved it from the original location?
I went through, every time I walked by that room, I was nervous. Every time I walked by that room, I'd glance and make sure the signs were still there.
Well, there's still that one up there by Carl's. That's still.
The other one?
Yeah,
Okay, because that one used to be right across the hallway. Did they move that one now? You said, is that a restroom now, or what'd you say a minute ago, Jason?
Underneath the stairs, yeah.
Okay, so I wonder if
The
that's...
bathroom.
Interesting. I don't know, but yeah, thing is, I don't know if that, with the recorder was sitting at, it was just in that unfinished part. I don't know if it's in that room or if she's on the staircase, and it's just resonating right there, because you obviously can hear us talking down there, or Ben.
Right.
And we're not even on the floor, we're down on the main level, somewhere in the building, I don't know where, and that's up on the second floor, so the fact that we caught that Ben talking and then a little girl talking over him is pretty interesting, especially since they've seen kids there a lot. But This next one is still the same recorder. It's still the same hallway, and this time it's a male though. So it's the letter C.
Okay, hang on just a second.
Sure.
C, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, ready?
Go ahead.
Three times?
No, he's repeating it. So
Yeah,
I was gonna say that too. I was gonna tell that to the public at home. It's not the same recording over. I mean, it's the same recording over and over. He's repeating it. This one's probably like a small clip, but did anybody hear anything in there?
Seemed like a yeller.
Just a male yelling something. We don't know what. We never been able to figure out what is going on, and it's in that room. I mean, it's in that hallway, so or in that part of the room.
And I know none of us ever yell.
No. Why would we?
Yeah, we usually always have radios and we're always talking to each other.
The thing I've always
If anything else, we're prone to having to speak up some.
Right, I was gonna say.
We get in a, all of us are pretty well in the habit of speaking in a normal voice, but
Right.
sometimes it's hard to not whisper.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I was gonna say you can usually tell the pitch in our voices too. It's more bassier and it sounds.
More real.
I mean, yeah. I don't want to say stereo real, but this one sounds like it's in the distance, or
Right.
not as full energy, full gusto to be able to yell. But the fact that it's still there, you can hear him yelling. So I have no idea. I thought it was interesting when we caught it at the time. And this is, like I said, this is probably 10 years ago at least. Or not quite 10 years, probably 7, 8 years ago. But earlier we talked about on the show, we talked about the elevator, the paint cans, the Walt guy. This is where this next recording came from, letter D. It's down by the basement, right by the elevator. We had a recorder going. And you'll hear a male voice talking, who's Carl, the janitor guy we talked about here. And what he's talking about is the elevator door just to open up on their own, he said. And you'd be sitting there down by himself working on something, all of a sudden you hear the ding of the elevator, and he's like, who the hell's coming down here? I'm by myself. After doing some further research, it's supposed to do that. It's on a timer. Mm-hmm. So he's figured that part out, but the fact when he's telling us the story, this is the first time I ever met Carl, you'll hear somebody else talk over him. So,
ready?
Yep, fire it up.
And all of a sudden the elevator takes off and leaves the floor and dings. He said, that's it. I packed his stuff and he went home. And all of a sudden the elevator takes off and leaves the floor and dings. He said, that's it. I packed his stuff and he went home. And all of a sudden the elevator takes off and leaves the floor and dings. He said, that's it. I packed his stuff and he went home. And all of a sudden the elevator.
And there's a breathy voice. I couldn't tell what it said. Do you guys have any clue or anything? I mean, it's fact it's there, and it's not any of us. Because once again, you hear our bassiness of our voice, and it's...
It sounds like a laugh.
So like a what?
It sounds like a laugh. Like an old...
I laughed. You heard me laugh, right?
Well, no, mine's a little bit late.
Yeah, I know.
But what I would...
I laughed. I went, like that kind of... That's me. After that, you'll hear like a breathy kind of a... It's real low, so it's kind of hard to hear. But it's something that was
Can't
there.
make it out.
Yeah, I could never figure it out. I just put an
Like you
unknown
said,
male. Nobody tagged it, yeah.
He didn't even stop talking.
And that was the time when it was Renee, myself, and Carl in the basement with the Squidward incident earlier.
So
at
it's
the
just
same time.
three
Just three of us.
Oh.
So if it was a male voice, and it kind of sounded bassy, it would have been me or Carl and I, should I say, and it wasn't either one of us. So, I don't know. It's crazy. Go ahead, you gonna say something?
No.
Oh, that's you gonna say something. The next one we have here is, once again, back up on the second floor. Now, this recorder is, most of these coming up right now, is going to be where the staircase we talk about with Mary Beth. This is all in that. If I remember, like usually when I put a recorder up there, I usually put it on the banister when you first walk up the stairs. Mm-hmm. It's sitting right there on that rail. That's facing out. So this is on the second floor. It says leading to the conductor's room. Okay, so you'll hear me talking about, because I'm trying to get something stirred up and nothing's really happening. And this is all just our first investigation ever. It's not during the public investigation at all. So there's nobody else other than us, EOP there at the time. So you'll hear something there as I'm talking about playing a game to stir something up. That'd be letter E, right?
Huh?
You on E?
Yep.
Okay, go ahead and fire it up.
Tell you what, we'll play one little quick game if you want to. See these pretty lights down here on this machine right here? Tell you what, we'll play one little quick game if you want to. See these pretty lights down here on this machine right here? Tell you what, we'll play one little quick game if you want to. See these pretty lights down here on this machine?
So what I always tagged it as, and Ben and Claire at the same time thought it was the same thing too. It's like a gunshot. It was like a pop after you hear me talking about. Tell you what,
2 of them.
yeah, it's like it echoes or it yeah. And once again, we're on the second floor. There's no outside interference. There's nobody else in the building other than us, and obviously none of us carried a gun or got shot. But we think it's probably residual. We actually caught one of those at another place in Dodge at the Carnegie Arts Center, which was a library of all things, at the time, but it also served at the Carnegie served as a kind of a nightclub restaurant at one time too.
Right.
But they had a gunshot go off there too. Now the thing is, it is Dodge City, so but that doesn't sound like anything. We never heard sirens or anything like that. Oh, sorry, Jason. We never heard sirens after that. We never heard anything. No reports. You would have heard. Dodge City's a smaller town. You would have heard something that if it was a real gunshot.
It sounded close.
Yeah, it's like it was
sounded
in the
like it. Yeah.
the hallway, should I say?
Right. Yeah.
Because what we were doing, we were camped out on the bottom of the stairs, just sitting there, like if you remember that or not, at the time. But yeah, it was just you hear this thing shoot a gunshot, and I was telling you guys earlier about the hotel. Oh shit! This is where they used to take gunshot victims back in the day, the 1800s, the early 1900s, whatever it was, 1800s. They would take people there to work on them because they didn't want the rich elite people seeing all this going on, so they would kind of stash them off to the side. That way they could work on them. They would call doctors there and work on these people that are the victims. But is it a real gunshot? Who knows? I mean, it's something we just caught.
Right.
But let me see what's this next one here. This is like we talked about earlier, the conductor's room. Oh wait a minute. No, this is by Carl's room. We were talking. His office is not too far from there. One thing that Carl always said is he would be in his office working, and he would see like a little child come up to his office and talk to him, and he looked up and he's like, oh shoot, somebody's there, a little kid, and it'd be him by himself. Over the time, he just got used to doing it, basically, and seeing this thing. We went in there, and I ran an EMF in there with the millimeter. That place it's just a fear cage, basically, but it's the highest EMF you'll capture anywhere in the building, and now, when he first started talking to me about this, I always thought maybe it was just being in this environment. It just, it causes paranoia or even paranormal events to happen. But we caught something here at the same time. So,
one thing that Carl said too when we were there, I think Jason, was that Carl has had a few surgeries.
Yeah.
Lately.
Yeah, he has.
And she's really checking in on him.
Oh, I bet. He says, I'm sure after all the years.
Said, yeah.
What you'll hear is you'll hear something talk right after Carl's. He's talking about he feels hot spots he felt a hot spot right by the stairwell, and he says something like weather, and then he pauses, and you'll hear a voice come through. So go ahead and play that.
Okay. I can't explain why there'd be a hot spot there.
It's right by that stairwell, which,
Yeah,
I mean,
I don't know whether. I can't explain why there'd be a hot spot there.
it's right by that stairwell, which,
Yeah,
I mean,
I don't know whether. I can't explain why there'd be a hot spot there.
it's right by that stairwell, which,
Yeah,
I mean,
I don't know whether.
It's kind of hard to hear. It's at the very end. I know looping it kind of cuts into it when it plays it again, but what you gonna say, Jason?
You hear Carl, then you hear you.
And then you hear me. Yeah, we're talking.
Then you hear the voice.
Yeah. To me, we're talking about this hot spot, and both and I are feeling it. It's by the stairwell, and to me, it's not like it says "it's me." Like you hear a voice, it's kind of real staticky, it's not a bassy voice. It's to me, it's what when we capture sometimes ghost voice or voices, they're normal.
Sounds child.
Yeah, it could
Childlike.
be. That's the impression I always got, knowing the story and everything and what he sees. I 100% sure, but unfortunately it wasn't a Class A where it's real clear, but it's still there.
But you can tell it's right after you. You're right after Carl, and then
he pauses. He says something, I don't know whether, and then he stops and pauses, and you hear it go, "It's me," kind of real rough.
Did you hear that? Okay.
Just very faint.
Yeah, it's real faint. Unfortunately, it's not like I said a Class A one. Next one we got here is in the actual conductor's room.
Is this G?
Yes, sir.
Okay, just making sure.
I can't remember if we're talking or not, if it's just nobody in there. I'm not 100%, I can't remember. It's been a while since I listened to these, but there's a voice that pops up or a sound, so you can go and play it.
Creepy at all.
That's very creepy.
Don't know if it's a sound or a voice. I could never decipher on that. It kind of sounds like both.
Yeah.
One or the other. It's
almost like a scream, but like a.
Like it.
Hi.
But not your typical scream.
It's just like a drawn out,
like a roar.
Now that I hear myself, I'm actually carrying my recorder in my hand. I hear myself breathe. You hear that little whistle, me breathing at the time. I was thinking, maybe Carl, I can't remember, one of us were breathing because he has a hard time breathing a lot. He whistled a lot during that investigation. I remember because I would say, "That's Carl." He's like, "I'm sorry." He'd apologize. I'm like, "No, don't apologize. It's fine." But yeah, the fact that whatever that was afterwards, I could never in a million years figure out what it was. But letter H. Let's see what we're doing here. Yeah, that was pretty audible actually. I didn't.
Did you hear that one?
I didn't hear that one. Some of them are a little bit challenging to hear though.
Yeah. This is one when it's Claire, myself, and Jason, when we're sitting down at the very bottom of the staircase leading up to the little girl. This is when we first started hearing her voice a lot. And I hear something that I thought it was a noise or a voice. And Claire will say hello, and I go, "Did you hear that?" That one's kind of hard to hear on this, but the next one followed by that is a little bit more audio, because I have to repeat hello again.
Really?
So, yep, go ahead.
Hello?
You hear that?
No.
Say it again.
Hello? I heard that.
Is that not stomach?
No. Hello?
You hear that?
No.
Say it again.
Hello? I heard that.
Is that not stomach?
No. Hello?
That one's pretty long. So
Yeah,
we'll just,
no, you're fine. Because at the time it sounded like a noise to me, but when I go back and listen to the audio, you can actually hear her talking to this little girl's voice that we actually captured. Now
It sounds just like the first time I ever heard her say no.
Yeah.
That's the same exact voice.
Yeah, because you were down there too with us, and you talk at the very end. You go no. I didn't, because I said that wasn't a stomach, and you go no. But yeah, but the thing is though, when we were hearing this in real time, it sounded audible, really loud. It wasn't. Unfortunately, that's not as loud. We like it. It never is, but when we hear it in real time, it's loud enough that all three of us heard it. So, this last one we have here is. When we originally did it, it was a video, but Jeremiah pulled the audio off of it because it sounds. Because the video is nothing. It's when we were trying to shoot our production show. Or our pilot show. We were trying to film. So at the time he was just taking video, and it happened to be our feet, and he was panning up to all of us. It was Jason, myself, and Renee. We're on the second. We're actually on the third floor. We're chasing the little girl around up there in the corner where it was real hot, a hot spot. The thing that was compelling about this piece is the fact that we had millimeters, and we took it to that corner, and it starts climbing right away. And I'm like, we're looking at it like, holy shit, this thing's climbing. So I duck into the room and I try to see what's behind that wall. Well, there is a breaker box behind there, so I'm all pissed. I'm like, God damn it! This explains why this is rising.
Right.
So we take in, and Jason captures it. He follows me in there too, and so does the guy with the camera. And we start putting it on there, and the thing's dead. The breaker box is dead.
Millimeter didn't even move.
It drops as soon as we put it up to that breaker box. So the breaker box is not even hot, it's not even live. But the fact is, on the outside of the wall, we were in that area, the adjacent wall to it, it's like, or next to it, same wall, it's climbed up in that corner. So the little girl was there, because then we find out later on she's talking to us.
Mm-hmm.
So you couldn't play that piece when you're ready.
That was over in that corner though this time.
Here is 70. And then right over here is the 71.
That was over in that corner though this time.
Here is 70. And then right over here is the 71.
That was over in that corner though this time.
Can't
Wow.
quite make out what she's saying.
I'll tell you what I thought it said. It says, "Stop bugging me." Because we're
That
chasing
sounds
her around.
close.
We're chasing her around this. You can't go. You can go one way up there until you get into the walls, and you can go around that whole
Right.
top part. But the fact is, we've been calling her out for so long, and Jason's he can hit on the millimeter is getting some kind of reading. It's starting to climb up. The heat is, and like I said, the EMF was going off at the time. We were trying to figure out why it was rising so high. And you could hear her. The thing is, though, you could hear her talking to us throughout that whole piece. Not that specifically, but just in general. We're gonna say.
What gets me is you can hear. I hear a southern accent. She has like an accent to her.
Mm-hmm. Well, and the thing is, though, another thing too about that is when she's talking, it's echoey.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
Versus then when you hear Jason and I talk, it's more bassy and it's like not echoey. So it definitely wasn't any of that. And plus, we didn't have a child with us other than Renee,
Right.
which she's childlike. But I know she's watching. That's why I said it. But it's the fact that this voice was caught, and we kept hearing her the whole time, the whole night. She was talking to us, and it's other than one other place, I never had anything so clear in the moment. Wilson was the other place I saw during another public event where we chased her around the hallway, and she was just talking to us like she was there, and there was no child in the room also in that place either. But that was one of my favorite ones, that piece, because
I love that one.
yeah. So you'll play it one more time, just because I want to say take note of how it echoes when she talks right away, and then we hear our voice and it's not the same pitch.
And it's right at the beginning of the clip,
Yep.
just in case you missed it.
That was over in that corner though this time.
Here is 70. And then right over here is the 71.
That was over in that corner though this time.
Thing is about, like I said about that too, is the fact that you don't hear Jason, Renee, myself, and we don't freak out. Because if we would have heard that, it'd be like, "Holy shit, did you see that?" It'd have been that type of reaction. We keep on talking like nothing had happened, and
I can tell you, I didn't hear a single thing.
poor Jason. But the reason why it's at the very beginning of the clip is off that video on the producer's camera, on the director's camera. It takes intervals.
Mm-hmm.
And it happened to be, for whatever goddamn reason, it sucks, it happened to be at the very beginning of the next clip.
Right.
And so,
Right.
I even went back to the clip before and it doesn't bridge over, so I couldn't, put them together. So,
Right.
it's just frustrating that it happened there versus the middle.
Yeah, and then that camera, it doesn't just automatically start the next reel. You have to manually start it.
Right.
So, and my camera's the same
Yeah,
way.
I knew
so-
you had the same one, a similar one, and it's just like, But the fact is, it's an actual video, and it's just, but it's not worth viewing. There's nothing on video other than our feet, and it's just like, well, that's stupid. But the audio, I'm glad his mic caught it.
Yeah.
And we also had wireless mics on that night too, if you remember right.
Right.
So I mean, I don't know if you ever caught on that. I think, well, actually, you know what? It probably caught it clearer because of the fact we had the wireless mic packs on, because it's fed into his camera as he's recording. So I think that's why it was so dominant and clear. But that was the best the little girl we've ever caught. I mean, her talking to us.
That was very clear.
Yeah.
Yep. Which is great. I mean, great fun. We've been trying for years to get her that clear and that audible and loud, and it's,
And what is she saying? Stop bugging me.
yeah, after all these years.
Leave me alone.
That's all you gotta
I
say.
feel bad. I do. I feel bad,
I do.
but I try to talk to her as much as possible. And I know Jeremiah's had some
Right.
moments up there with her
Yeah.
in the past, especially the time before
I
that.
play the daddy card.
Yeah,
You know,
me too.
when I'm, because I've got a shitload of daughters. So I mean, I play that card, and it usually gets a pretty good interaction with her. It seems like.
Yeah, I agree with that, because we always I don't have girls, but I have 2 boys, and I'm gonna say, you may bring my children up here to play with you, because I feel like,
I've heard you say that.
to me, I feel like she's lonely. I mean, you're stuck in this place for all the time, and yeah, you get us people that look weird to her, we look modern, and here we are bugging her, and she's obviously saying, stop bugging me. But I don't think it's because we were so much up in her space. I think it's because we just kept on chasing her around. I mean, possibly that she's like, stop bugging me. I don't need...
Right.
Because most of the time when we talk to her, we're down below, and she's looking up, and she talks to us more. But the fact that we're in her, we had her cornered, basically.
Right.
This is what we got. Stop bugging me.
I've asked her
Yeah.
if there's anything I can do to help her, and she said no.
You asked her if she's hurt. I remember that. Yeah.
Is there anything I can do for you? And no.
Are you missing your parents? Why are you here? Kind of a thing. And that's why, like I said, I cannot figure out, because we know that who we think it is an older woman that's passed on. But why is she projecting as a child? Like that's the part I can't bridge the gap. And maybe she's not the same person, but she takes on that persona because she knows that gets us going. And we can talk to her that way. She's like, I'll be married, Beth, if you talk to me.
Right.
Who knows? But it's just all theories right now at this point. But it's compelling. I mean, the fact that we can capture this individual. But I don't know. Yeah.
Well, it's gonna be interesting this time around, because we've never done such a quick turnaround.
Yeah.
Not there. It's usually like a year later or something like that. So this is going to be fun to go back and see with a new group of people how it's going to be. And even Carl has some ideas on how to run some of the cables and stuff like that. Just has some ideas to see if it has anything to do with what was going on with the system that was going on.
I got you.
Right. He has. Yeah. He's like, let's try this, and I'm like, all right, we'll do whatever we can. If we can drive, take that cable that way, then we will.
Yeah. And there'll be some different equipment we're going to try this time too, with the REM pod and a couple other things we got working that I want to definitely see if we can get her to manipulate.
Yeah.
It was nice having the Boo Buddy there. That's awesome, because not only to scare members of our team, it also scared. It actually worked with the paranormal that night too.
Dan said it's available if we want to take it there. So I can grab it from him and we can take it again.
Because we've tried. Renee and I, we brought our own toys in before I brought the big ball I used to carry. I took to Wilson all the time. Renee brought her doll that she had, her bear, but it was just a regular teddy bear and didn't do anything. It never moved. But the Boo Buddy's the way to go, I think, because it...
Actually, the bear was sitting, and it just bugged me. It just and I asked, if you want me to leave that bear, turn on the flashlight. Okay, so I left it.
She never did it on camera. We tried doing it with the production company and never came on, or never.
Yeah.
Other than her voice coming through, which is pretty awesome. But yeah, the place is
they got a lot of the guests on at the event got a lot of the flashlight activity on camera this time.
Good.
So
that's great, because you did those.
Yeah, we got a lot. I know it was when Paul and I were down there. It was showing it. It was very interesting. I've never seen flashlights. I mean, it's like that was playing with them.
Yeah. Oh, I bet.
I think the only time I've ever actually seen it that reactive and that on cue was at that place in Eldon, the house in Eldon that Brandon wrote about.
Yeah.
So that was.
Yep.
We spent about 45 minutes or an hour doing that night. That was crazy.
When they would actually answer, when you asked a question, it would instant. You could sit there for 10 minutes and nothing, and then you ask a question and blam. So.
We've had it work about 3 or 4 times. I've been around, probably 4 times. The first time was at the Murdoch Theater here in Wichita when it was Brennan, Claire, and myself, and we had it turn on. Claire asks a question, and it comes back on, and then it goes off. That same location you captured the infamous orb when you were taking a picture, and it pops up when you ask it to. We had it work in Derby from the basement with the.
Did you?
The another time that Paula, who's not here tonight, lost her cool. She's like, "Oh shit!" Dropping that bomb because it's frightening. You're staring down in total darkness. This is before you got there that night and Roth. But I'm staring down there too at one point. It comes on. You're like, it's because it's pitch black and all of a sudden it's light.
Flashlight or the motion detector?
Both. Yeah.
And there's nobody,
Yeah.
nobody down there, and it's on a solid
Yeah.
desk, cement floor.
Yeah, we had it work at Oberlin Train Depot. Yeah, that was a good spot, for a little kid.
That's my
Turning it
first
off.
time ever seeing the flashlight work.
That's a good one. And then I think the one we all can relate to recently was at the Elders Hotel. We're trying to sleep and that thing kept coming on. That thing, holy crap, dude! Because it's pitch black in the room and I'm tired. We got like maybe 2 hours sleep, if even that, and all of a sudden the lights coming on in your face and you're like, what the? Oh, that's the flashlight. Cool.
Yeah.
And that's the time you got.
I thought it was the sensor light, but it was actually the flashlight that was shining right at.
You can see it start to, and then full blown, and then dim out.
Wow.
And then it do it again, off and on.
Yeah,
It's just
full
like,
blown, just like it
I-
even had more power than the
Yeah,
battery.
wow. You
Yeah.
can see it bright.
Yeah, I'm
That's
just
what
like,
it was doing
what the
that night.
heck?
But I blame Roth for all that.
Yeah.
For the hotel.
Yep, the hotel was, that was, you stirred it up and you got what you asked for. So that's why I always tell people at home, be careful what you ask for.
Kicked you, and then he
Yeah,
kept
turn on the
winking at him.
flashlight.
Yeah, that was very interesting.
But, so it does work. I know people in this field have tried to debunk that and saying, it's because your human hands turning the heat on it, whatever, and it pops, it creates a reactor kind of a thing. But the fact that nobody's touching it in the middle of the night when we're trying to sleep and this thing's coming on. And it wasn't just that, it was also the motion sensor came on too.
Oh, the motion
So-
sensors were, I mean,
so
they were
kinda
going back and
side by
forth from the
side.
bathroom over to the front door.
Yeah, so it wasn't just one thing, it was multiple things that were happening. Nobody's moving and we're sleeping on the floor, and this is above us.
Yeah.
But,
Well, and Paul and Michelle had the flashlights up on the stage as well at the depot.
yeah, that's what you were saying. That's
And
when
they
they
were having
coming
it,
on and
and
off.
and I was watching Paula Friday night. Prior to the event, and we're doing, and she, of course, you guys had it going, and I always show up at the last one. and, it only worked one time.
Right.
And I'm sitting with Paula, we have the whole room to ourselves, the auditorium, and she asked it right away, are you still with us? Can you turn that light on? And the flashlight just goes ding. So she got it to work, so here I am, I'm like, tink, I go to record, and I just killed it. Nothing happened after that. And she's just like, way to go. I was
want to be on camera.
Sorry, I was just trying to do capture it. I just want to see it on video, but it wouldn't do it, so I have yet to see that.
Yeah, and we actually had, who was it that had the K2 meter go off on the stairs when we were at the depot?
I wasn't there.
We had one of the ladies, I think, set because she was getting Mary Beth to interact with her.
Oh, yes.
And so Jason handed her the
Ding.
K2 and she set it right on her knee.
Yeah, she's not even moving. And we start talking. She starts actually talking.
Yeah.
I wish I remembered everybody's name. Should get name tags for everybody.
We should.
Yeah, and she's just sitting there and just asking Mary Beth a question, and it just starts lighting up with her. And the thing is, she's not the only one that was on the steps. It was, I mean, we were kind of crowding the area, so if Mary Beth was actually there, she was coming down through everybody.
Oh yeah.
So, I don't know.
Thing is, on that corner too, right by the staircase, I don't know if anybody knows this or not, there's a high spike of EMF. I mean, it makes you feel sick.
In that corner?
Yeah.
Right there? Yeah.
I've tried to figure out what the heck it is. I want to say it's the lights down below. There's hanging lights that go when you walk in the main entrance. There's these big hanging lights.
Right.
But I've tried to go so far across the floor everywhere and nothing else picks up. It's just in that corner. Makes me wonder if it's a portal or some kind of vortex around that corner because everybody feels sick in that corner.
Where he's talking about is off of Mary Beth's staircase. If you're heading down it and you come off the step, it's that corner directly to your right.
The dead ends to
No, it's just like a little corner. Huh?
It's your left. Wait, are you coming down the staircase?
Yeah, coming down.
If you're coming from downstairs, okay, he's
I
saying
thought there
right.
was a door there.
No, just right here in the corner. So you're coming down the steps of Mary Beth's staircase, and up ahead is the elevator way up ahead. But it's just right here, and then you go down this way to where the other hallway is.
It's right there.
So it's just that corner right there that has gotten a lot of people who feel that dizziness feeling, like they're just swirling.
Feel nauseous.
Yeah.
Now, the first time I was there, and I think we did have a group,
Yeah.
So that wouldn't have been
Yeah.
the first time, but, well, probably the first time we had a group there. And we were standing at the bottom of the stairs, and there's the doorway that's right there.
Right.
And there's some people standing there, said, it feels like it's vibrating.
Vibrating.
Yeah.
Yep. The
Yeah.
same
And
floor.
so I
Same
went over
part.
and stood, and yeah,
Yeah.
it feels like you're,
It's weird.
You used to feel that up in the conductor's office a lot, or conductor's rooms a lot. You
Which
could
is
feel the
just
floor
right above
straight up
it.
above that. I don't know what it is, and it's the same side of the floor you're talking about. It's on that same side of the building. I don't know what it is, what's making that vibrating, but
Portal to the past.
could be. Could be.
I don't know, it's
Portal?
a weird feeling.
Yeah.
It's weird.
That's why it's one of my favorite parts of the building, because I know the little girls there. The gunshot was captured there. The different voices, because
And
that's
that's
all in
where
that
Paul saw
area.
the shadow on the,
Yeah.
underneath the.
Oh wow, yeah.
Back where the bathroom is.
Yeah, under the staircase.
Paula, the last time she was there, she said that she went back to the back there to.
Yep.
She was gonna go sit down herself, but then she was just like, "Oh, I'm sorry." She actually apologized.
Right.
She could swear
It wasn't.
somebody was
It wasn't
crouching.
this time. It was 2 years ago, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I remember that
She
night.
was just
I remember her
crouched,
saying that.
a figure crouching
Yep.
on the ground, just
Right.
holding the knees.
Yep.
Saw the figure right there.
That was one of the guests we had that
Yeah.
night, and she was like, "Oh, I'm
do
sorry."
remember
Yeah, I do too.
And then she backed away, and then it was
there.
gone.
Yeah. So that's one of my favorite spots, because it's definitely that whole hallway.
Yeah, it's got something going.
It's really active. I mean, we've had all the events we talked about tonight. Most of those were from that same area. I mean, with Mike and the rattling the doors not too far from there, the shadows, you name it. It all happens in the hallway. So.
Right.
Yep, it's gonna be a fun time again. I can't wait to get back in there. I'm sad I missed this last time, but I knew I wouldn't be nice to you.
Matter of fact, I think you were in his group when he had that issue inside the dressing room or
Who?
whatever it was. Michael.
Yeah, was he in his group?
Yeah, he was in his group.
Oh,
He
me,
left,
I'm like,
came
oh,
out, sat down on
Who said
the
that?
couch, had the door handle shake. He left, and then I think it was his boss. The lady, the woman was sitting next to him on the couch inside that room, and it immediately happened to her.
Oh wow!
Right after him.
Yeah.
So.
And that's the same hallway as
That's the
Carl's
same
office.
hallway that. Yeah.
It's not too far from there with a lot of EMF, so I'm not surprised by that at all. Because
Oh yeah. They actually just pointed out are you talking at the base of the stairs?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's not where the door handle.
No, I know, no. No, I'm talking about, that's where I wonder if it's like a vortex portal.
Oh, yeah.
No, if you keep going down that hallway, that's where that happened at.
One
you're
other,
talking about.
one other thing that did happen right there though at the base of those stairs, there's a conference room. It was locked, but there's a conference room right there, right next to the base of those stairs, and two of the women in our group kept seeing lights and motion underneath that doorway right there.
Yeah, because if you go, and this is at the base of the stairs now, is that where it's at, you said?
Yeah.
Because that was not too far from there. If you keep going down the long hallway where that incident happened, that's what I was telling you about, the main entrance door to the back staircase. Not the one with the prison stairs, a different one, where you can see movement underneath there too, same thing. Yeah, so I'm not surprised by that at all. Something definitely up in the hallway. I don't know if it's male, female, or, I mean, I think it's both at different times. So, I mean, we obviously caught the guy yelling, and the little girl. So, yeah, that place is definitely haunted, man. I mean, it's one of my favorite places to go to. It's so weird because parts of it, well, it used to be parts of it were really nice, where you feel like comfortable, but still things were going on, like the auditorium part, and then you go to the old part, and it was like, oh man, this is dingy and dirty, but things were always happening. So
I still force myself to go by myself in areas,
it's creepy, man.
Yeah. I do get that. Some areas, like you said, it feels just fine, and then you get to other areas, like I was in by the stage of the theater, just standing up there because I could have sworn I was hearing something going around.
Yeah.
But and everybody was still kind of getting ready for the night, but
yeah, the place that I felt at really unease.
When you were by yourself?
No, it was the and I don't think we do a lot there. It's where the new lockers are. That they just put
the basement.
Out.
I mean, the main level.
New lockers now that went
down in the basement.
By the bathrooms.
No.
Oh, I mean, I'm
On the
main
theater,
level.
on the main level, you know, when you go into the theater room and you can kind of go where it's where the,
Back behind in the staircase.
It's a different hallway back in the corner.
There's,
I've been back there before.
there's a area back
Yeah.
there that's a dressing room.
Right, it has.
And I went in there, that's remember when I told you I was lost, I was trying to get my way back?
Yeah.
I went into that room, because I'm like, where's this go?
Right.
And I never knew this was
I
here.
found that by mistake.
And I got in there, and
I
I got
didn't tell
right
people about
back out. I did not like it,
Yeah.
did not.
It's dark in there.
Careful.
It's pretty dark and it's different.
And
yeah.
back there too, I think down in that area is where Dan was even telling me. He's like, have you guys ever had anything happen down there in that section? Because he's like, it's just got a weird vibe to it.
Well, you gotta remember right down, instead of going to that area you went, if you go around the corners, there's basement stairs that go down to the Malevolent Spirit down there. Wyatt, he's right below you. So,
Interesting.
I don't know if he's resonating this back.
Yeah, I didn't like it. And,
Yeah, it's creepy.
you
down that
know,
way.
I think that whole hallway and that whole area back there can be very disorienting.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, that whole building, if you don't know where you're going, like Roth found out, you'll get lost because there's so many possibilities of different doors and
And you're
stairwells you
just-
don't know they're there. Yeah.
I found that stairwell, I'm like, my prison? I mean, I thought this was weird, so I just took it. And,
If you'd have followed all the way around, it should take you to the auditorium.
yeah, it did. That's how I was able to get
by the
back,
kitchen,
because I was
yeah.
like, I know where I'm at.
Yep.
Auditorium.
Yep.
Good to go. So.
Yeah, so people at home, come out and join us, man. It's gonna be fun. I know you can't go this next time unless you already bought your ticket, but
April
April
14th.
14th, we're going again for a third time this year, and who knows more? Will probably be more than that.
I'm sure there will be because
Yep.
I know they already want us.
Yep,
So
definitely.
I'm just trying to space it out so I'm not killing us.
We still have other places to go to,
Yeah.
like Oberlin, to Wilson, to you name it.
That's
Yeah,
it.
that city. And
Yeah.
that's just the public ones. That's not even the private investigations
Yeah.
we do
Yeah.
on top of that, because we have a lot of those lined up already too.
Yeah, we do.
So-
Got a couple of them.
It's gonna be a busy year again. I can't wait. Fun times again. So very cool. All right. Well, what else you got? Anything?
I don't think so. I
We
think
got 5 minutes, I know
Yeah.
that.
In case Charlene is still.
She was on earlier.
She was on earlier.
She always comes
I didn't
on
have a
late.
minute to say, but hi.
Yeah, I told her hi.
Did you? Okay. And
Yeah, her and
we
Tiffany
will
got
see
on.
her. Okay.
Yeah. Charlene always comes on and see how we're doing, say hi, and then
Yeah, she
and then-
darts off.
As
She's a busy woman.
as she says, she gets off to go watch football.
Yeah.
What's more important?
Yeah. Her and I
Who are you
were
asking? I'm just kidding.
her and I were going against the Patriots, but that's
I was too.
well.
Yeah, that's a lie. So, very cool. Well, we can probably wrap it
But
up.
yeah,
really.
so and then we're gonna be July 21st. We'll be up in Oberlin, Kansas. So those tickets are gonna be going on sale pretty soon up there.
Yeah.
We're gonna be advertising that. It's gonna be. I didn't know if I told you guys. It's gonna be a double night.
You said something.
Okay, so we're gonna do 2 nights in a row there. So it's
Yeah.
gonna be a Friday, Saturday,
Yeah.
What's
2 nights
the
in
date on that?
July 21st.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
21st, 22nd.
21st, 22nd.
yeah.
Yeah.
21st, 22nd.
Well, I
And
thought you
then-
said the 27th, I thought, well, that's not what he said.
That's something different.
21st. Yeah. Next weekend, 27th.
Yeah.
We're in Dodge.
Okay.
And then the fall weekend after the Oberlin, we may be doing something else. We do a talk every year that we go give downtown. We might be doing that again,
Lots of fun.
and then we may be doing a Paracon, maybe possibly. Looking at, we miss it every year because of events we have going on and
Up in Kansas
investigations.
City.
So
We should talk to them and see if we could set up something about going live from there.
probably could.
Oh, I love to.
Sure, we could.
That'd
That'd
be
be
awesome.
Yep. So stay tuned for all that. I know it's a few months out, but it's coming faster. It'll be here before we know it.
Well,
so.
January is just about over. I mean, after next weekend, we're already getting ready for February. So
Don't tell me that. I'm not ready for that yet. So, very cool, guys. Well, thank you guys for tuning in this evening for another fun episode. There'll be more like this. I don't know what we're doing next week yet, but we'll figure something out.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, absolutely.
yep. And thanks to our guest, who's kind of in the corner. Can't see her. She's off camera, but she's here. So, and thanks to everybody at home. We'll see you next week,
Thanks,
same
guys.
time.
Good
Have a
night.
good week.
See ya.